It's time for the Margin Matters Minute with Money Man Jason Brown.
All right, Jason Brown here with another edition of the Margin Matters Minute, and today I'm joined by a special guest, Mr. Duke Corey. Today's topic is earning extra money during the pandemic and what industries are booming. We're always looking for, side gigs, entrepreneurial types, learning how to, make some extra money on the side, boost your income. So today we're talking with my friend, Mr. Duke Corey, who has been very entrepreneurial during the pandemic. He actually lost some of his jobs, which I'll let him explain. But he's gotten into the food app delivery services. So this is one of the industries that's really been booming. If you're like me and you have to eat to live and you're stuck at home or you're quarantining or you can't go anywhere, you're in lockdown. A lot of us went through the lockdowns earlier in the pandemic. And hey, you got to eat, right? So you start, ordering food. Hey, how do I get some food?
Got to eat.
Got to eat, right? So Duke is here. Now, I know you worked with several of these apps that are really popular. Postmates, Uber Eats, which is really popular. I think they had a Super Bowl ad this year. And the other one is DoorDash. Thank you.
I think they had a Super Bowl ad as well.
Okay, well, yes, you can tell these guys must be making good money if they can afford
a good point.
$5.5 million, a 30-second ad in the Super Bowl. That shows you what's going on with this industry right now, that they can afford to do such a thing. So why don't you tell us a little bit of background on how you got into this, and then share a little bit about what you were doing before the pandemic and,
Sure.
and kind of how you fell into these roles.
Well, I was aware of it. Before doing it, I actually never ordered from it. I think maybe
Okay.
my wife had, but I had not, like for her lunch or something. She already was working from home before the pandemic, so she maybe on occasion would use it. She liked it. She was super convenient. I personally never used it, but I was aware of it. So I knew it was an option of something to do if you had nothing else to do. What I was doing previously was freelance video work and also part-time DJing for weddings, events, parties. Well, what happened during the pandemic?
All of that.
We had cancellations left and right. Even some of my video work was legal videography, and even that, because we were usually gathering closely in conference rooms for a deposition or what have you, a lot of that ceased.
Right.
So about a year ago this time is when it all started happening. And I was concerned, plus I was part-time employee on the one job and independent contractor in the other job. Didn't know how unemployment was going to pan out for me, if I was going to be qualified for it, et cetera, et cetera. So I said, I got to do something. And I remember I was on the phone with my brother, my oldest brother, Mark, just kind of discussing what's going on with the world and what's going on in my life. And my work is all drying up.
Yeah.
And he said, well, you need to think about something that people are still going to need even during a pandemic. And you kind of did it with your intro. We all need to eat. We all like to eat.
Yeah.
This country is known for its
consumption.
There's a good word.
Yes.
There's a good politically safe word.
We'll stick with that word.
So he said, maybe you ought to consider food delivery.
Okay.
And it was kind of in the back of my mind, but his suggestion kind of brought it to the forefront. I said, you know what? He makes a very good point. That is one thing that is going to definitely continue during this pandemic. So I started to look into it. And Postmates was the first one I signed up on, simply because it was the easiest.
Okay.
I think I just logged in. I think all three of them, basically the same requirements. Driver's license, car insurance, and a reliable car. So I think you tell maybe the make and model of your car and the mileage. I don't know if all of them did, but some of them may have asked for pictures of my car.
Okay.
Just to prove that it exists, maybe. It's not a complete, piece of junk. You got to have a reliable car to become a reliable delivery driver.
That makes sense. Okay.
So there was some little bit of requirements, but it was a very simple application process.
Okay.
And then, you had to like take pictures of your insurance card and send it to it. Postmates was kind of like on it like that.
Okay.
But Postmates also in our area seemed to be the least popular one. Then I got approved for DoorDash.
Okay.
So DoorDash was much more popular in the area. It started to increase my work.
Okay.
Uber Eats took a while. I think they were getting flooded with applications during the pandemic. There seemed to be a waiting period because, they don't want to oversaturate the market and then each driver is barely making anything.
Yeah, because then they'll all quit.
Right.
Yeah,
And so you got to kind of find that happy medium.
That's right.
So I think as the workload increased, their need for drivers increased, or whatever happened, it hit the magic number, and I got a notification and a text or something saying, hey, if you're still interested, you've been approved.
Okay.
I was kind of surprised how long that took. I don't know if it's still like that now, but that was my experience. I felt like maybe it took a month and a half to get on with Uber Eats.
Okay, yeah.
Postmates was immediate.
Okay.
DoorDash was maybe a couple weeks of a waiting period.
Yeah.
And then they kind of said, welcome package.
Okay.
Both Postmates and DoorDash sent me warmer bags.
Okay.
Uber Eats did not, which I found kind of ironic because they're kind of the biggest one.
Yeah.
And you could buy them. And in Uber and DoorDash, you can buy additional warmer bags or bigger bags. I remember I bought, actually for Christmas, I got a nice big one. Like fits like a whole pizza in it and stuff, because pizza is a very popular thing I've learned for deliveries.
Oh, yes.
So, but if you're not supplied with a warmer bag, I would invest in one.
Okay.
Because you want people's food to be warm when you get it to them.
And how much is a good, what do you call it, like an insulated warmer bag? How much does one of those cost?
I'd say to get a decent one, you could probably maybe $8.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I want to say like $7.99.
So that's something that you could pay out of your own pocket and not break the bank, because something under $10. That's
right.
Not bad.
And it's good to have more than one, because sometimes you get, for example, Chinese food.
Yeah.
You might get 2 bags worth of food, and only one's going to fit in one bag.
Okay, that's a good tip.
So either a big bag, you put multiple bags in it, or multiple bags.
Okay, good note. That's a good note.
So yeah, I got approved. I started doing it.
Okay.
What else?
So when did you start? So how long have you been doing this for?
Coming up on a year. I guess it was last.
Now, right now you're not
month.
really doing the Postmates. You're pretty much focused on the Uber Eats and the DoorDash.
Here's a typical day for me. What I'm doing.
Okay.
I make sure I'm ready to go. Because I've learned, I'm going to sign in and see if I get a hit.
Okay.
But I'm not ready yet. My wallet. I got to find my wallet, my keys. You'll get one, and then I'm scrambling to go out the door.
Okay.
Don't want to forget your bags. I sometimes usually just leave my bags in my car, like leaving my back seat, so they're always in my car. But because it was like DoorDash, I feel like they're getting mad at me. Like, you'll get a message saying, it seems you're not headed towards your delivery, because they use a GPS to track you.
They're tracking
They know if you left or not.
Okay.
So what I try to do is I make sure I'm ready, I'm dressed, I got my wallet, my glasses, my keys, my phone. You can't do it without your phone.
Gotta have that phone.
Another huge tip, make sure your phone is charged.
That's a good tip. That's always a good tip in any situation.
It will tell you, use the GPS. It will give you the directions how to get there through the app usually.
Okay.
The app is talking to you while you're driving.
Right.
And Uber, more than the others for some reason, really drains my battery.
Oh, I can see that.
So I keep track of that, and I have.
Oh, okay. So this is how this works.
So I have one of these with me.
Okay.
And this is just a battery charger.
Oh,
make sure this is charged.
It's a charger brick, like a power brick?
Yeah. I plug it in my car in case my battery's getting low, because I've been down like 30%, and if I want to deliver it for another hour or two, it may not last.
Right.
So if you don't have one of these, it's good to have one of these. Or if your car charger works fine, then don't worry about it. Maybe that's just me.
I have one of these as well, and I actually think these work better than the car chargers.
That's my point.
The cigarette lighter charger, right?
Yeah.
Those for whatever reason they don't charge as well. They don't charge as fast. And these right here, I have one very similar to this, and I want to say I got it off Amazon for like $17. And look, you have two USB ports, so you can actually charge two phones at the same time.
Right.
And these things, they hold a lot of power, and it takes a lot to wear those down. So,
Right.
so these are really handy.
But just make sure it is charged, because if this is dead, then it's not going to do you any good.
That's true.
That's very important. Make sure your phone is charged, and even if it's fully charged, if you plan on being out there all day, you're going to need a backup charger, because if your phone dies, you can't work.
Right. So let's.
So make sure you got everything. Make sure I have everything. Yep. Then I like you said, I belong to 3: Postmates, Uber Eats, DoorDash.
Okay.
I sign on to each one.
Okay.
And then the way I look at it is first come, first serve. Whoever pings me first, I'm probably going to accept it. I say probably because we have the option of not doing it.
Okay.
It may be kind of far away. That's rare, but that could be an option. It could be low pay.
Right.
We have the option of accepting or declining it. They don't like it if you decline it. They give you like warnings, like this will lower your acceptability rate.
Oh, gosh.
But I've talked to other delivery drivers, like sometimes when we're picking up at the same place and there's a wait on the order, we'll small talk, and I've learned information from other delivery drivers, and a lot of them have the attitude is, if it's low paying, I'm not going to take it. Mm-hmm. So I don't think too many are too worried about that. Their acceptability rate or whatever
Okay.
So anyway, I get one, and now a lot of times, and maybe just be where my neighborhood's located, nothing's happening.
Okay.
I'm not getting anything sitting. Now today,
no hits.
I got into the driveway, cranked up the car, ping, I got one.
Oh wow.
Which was perfect timing.
Okay.
But I sometimes literally have to give myself something to do. It's like, you know what? I gotta run to the post office.
Okay.
So I make myself go somewhere, or I really don't need gas, but I guess I can top off my tank.
Sure.
Because if I go to a local gas station, I'm closer to restaurants, I'm going to get something. But usually what happens is, like the last couple of days, I've used the post office excuse. I leave my neighborhood, I'm going down the road towards the post office, boom, I get a notification. So sometimes it does, I'm just sitting around at home, I get one.
Okay.
And this could be different because it's all different areas. For me, I usually have to head out on the road.
Okay.
But what often happens is, especially lately, because he's become very popular, when I first started doing this, I had often long waits. Like I do 3 in a row, and then like for 25 minutes there's nothing, and I'm sitting at a QT.
It's not consistent. Yeah.
Waiting on a hit.
Yeah.
Lately, once I get that first one, they just kind of
snowballs.
They keep coming throughout the day.
Okay.
Especially if you have multiple apps. Now, what happens a lot of times is I'll get an Uber one, and what I do, say I sign on to all 3.
Okay.
If I get one, I turn off the other 2. You can go offline, or DoorDash, it gives you the option to pause your orders.
Okay.
Like for 30 minutes, you can unpause within that 30 minutes. I'll go do this other one and then unpause the other ones to see if I get one.
Okay.
Because I made the mistake of like trying to do 2 from 2 different apps.
Yeah.
And they're 2 different locations, 2 different areas.
Yeah, you can't.
I would recommend not doing that.
Yeah. Spread yourself.
Accept one, turn the other ones off, and then if you're getting nothing, turn them all back on. But what I was gonna say with Uber, I'll get one. It just they kind of keep coming, which is great.
Oh, great. Okay.
I'll sometimes be in the neighborhood, like half a mile to the location.
Okay.
They're sending me the next one already.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of annoying because I'm trying to pay attention to the GPS, and they're often like, here's your next one. Do you want it or not? And if it looks decent enough, or it's probably because it's something close by, which is convenient, I'll take it. But that's been lately. I think it's become the norm and very popular to use these.
Right.
Like I think it's going to continue, even if things get back to normal and COVID goes away. I think people are so used to using these.
Right.
And even though people are working at home, I still get a lot of deliveries to offices.
Okay, so that's a great overview, Duke. I appreciate that. Super helpful for anyone who might want to be interested in trying one of these out to make some extra money. So now, let's talk about what everyone's probably waiting to hear is how much money can you actually make doing these delivery app services. So I remember I sent you an article recently, and we were kind of talking about it, and
rolling our eyes.
We were
at it.
kind of like, a lot of these articles you're going to read are going to be clickbait, and this one was probably the same thing the guy was talking about. He says he makes $40 an hour, and I forget which app service he cited in there, but he was talking about making $40 an hour running food on one of these app services, and I was
Which
like,
impressed you, so you sent
I
it to
sent
me.
it to you,
And
and
said, do you make this
I
much?
said, are you making this kind of cash? Now, I can't remember what city. I'm sure.
I don't know if it said.
I'm
really.
sure a lot of it, there's so many factors on this, like
Right.
what city is he in,
Well,
how many hours a day is he doing this, stuff like that.
We live in an area that there's restaurants everywhere.
Yeah.
Between chains and mom and pops. We're in a pretty good area, I feel, to do this.
Okay.
If you live, in a more rural area with only 2 or 3 restaurants, you got to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Now, some people may do it and drive to the nearest big city.
Okay.
That's actually what suggested when I first started doing it. And they can send me kind of far out. I was telling you earlier today that, people watch this may not be familiar with the towns, but I went to Woodstock. From Woodstock, I went to Canton. And next thing you know, I'm, 30 miles from home just because one delivery would take you to another delivery, take you to another delivery.
You're going further away each time.
Right. But on a ideal day, I'm kind of close to my home base for whatever
Okay.
I do call it quits.
Okay.
I'm like, 10 minutes from home.
Okay.
Which is great, as opposed to,
Good.
Driving 30 minutes
Right.
downtown or something, then I got a long commute to get back. I feel like I'm having a normal job again.
Okay.
But some people I do know do that. They go to like where and these apps actually will tell you, some of them will tell you
Okay.
the hot spots.
Oh, okay.
And it's really busy by the mall right now or
Right.
something. Or this area is really busy. And that's great. I usually luck out, and like I said, I get something, and maybe by chance it takes me to that busy area.
Okay.
And like you said, it kind of snowballs. But if you're waiting around and getting nothing, the apps will kind of help guide you where to go.
Oh, I see.
And it's no guarantee.
Okay.
Because at the same time, maybe everyone else is going there too.
Right.
And then you got to
Competition, yeah.
compete with everybody.
So,
But how much you make?
yeah, let's get to the meat and potatoes here.
Initially, I wasn't doing so well. Like I said, when I got into DoorDash, though, it increased. So here's I was recently looking over because we're early in the new year and
Okay.
it's tax time.
Right.
So I was getting like my earnings for the previous year.
Right, okay.
I was like, wow, I made that much. And then I think one of the apps offered a breakdown per month.
Okay.
And
That'd be
I
good
was
to
really surprised, maybe by the week.
Oh,
I think it was
okay.
weekly.
Okay.
I was really surprised what I made for some of these weekly.
Okay.
And I was like, really? I made, 500 something on just Uber? And keep in mind, I was also doing DoorDash, so that might have been another 200 or 300 there.
Okay. That's per week.
Yeah, but
That's not bad.
But that's when I was doing it a lot.
Okay.
Now, a quick update on myself. Some of my other work is starting to return,
Okay.
which is my main source of income.
course,
and
yeah.
if I break down the time and the money, I'm probably better off doing my normal job.
Right. Of course.
Plus, it's what I want to continue to do.
right. Of course.
So I'm doing it much less. It varies
Okay.
from week because I'm
Okay.
still getting the occasional cancellations.
Right.
But at the same time, I may work 4 or 5 days in a row with my
Okay.
regular job, or I may only work 2 days that week.
Okay.
So when I am doing nothing else, I will still do the delivery stuff.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to gauge. It really varies how much I'm making per
Okay.
week. If you do nothing but this, it's going to really vary on the area.
Okay.
And when I was doing quote unquote really well, it was kind of during the shutdown period.
Right.
So it really varies. When I first started doing it, it was my only source of income.
Right.
I'd be doing it from sometimes 11 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Oh, wow.
I would
12-hour day.
I would just go out. And,
Okay.
And on those days, I could make 150, maybe 200.
Okay.
But now I try to give myself what I personally do.
Okay.
Is I give myself a goal for the day.
Okay, that's
I go
good.
today. I'm going to work until I hit $80, and
that's all you need.
and that's it. Now, granted, it's never exactly 80 because
Okay.
with tips or whatever, and you don't know what you're going to make. What I love is when I exceed it. I go home and do the math. I was like, oh, I actually made 100 for the day.
Okay.
Feels like I got an extra 20.
Right.
Or you're like,
Okay.
oh, I only need $5 more, but the next one may pay 15. So obviously you're going to go over
Okay.
your goal.
Right.
Or you have a really good day and I hit my goal and it's only 4 o'clock. I was like, well, I'm going to do it for another hour or two. and increase your goal. But I try to give myself a minimum. I guess that's a good word.
That it's worth your time.
A minimum to make. And I base it on what else I have going on that day.
Okay.
Like today I know we were going to get together and work on some videos.
Right.
So before coming over here, I try to squeeze a few in, which I did. And maybe depending what time we get done, I may do some afterwards. So today I gave myself a low goal because I knew I had other stuff going on.
I see.
So yeah, or if I had a really good week and I've made a lot of money, I may give myself a light day. Like today I'm going to make 30 or 40 bucks. That's enough.
Okay.
It's really up to you. So obviously the higher your goal, the longer it's going to take. Maybe don't set a goal. Just do it whenever you feel like you've had enough. You've had enough.
Okay.
And sometimes they'll have you pick up 2 orders at one location.
Okay.
One was kind of far, but both customers were very generous.
Okay.
I think each one paid like $15 or something.
Okay.
They gave me a decent tip, and it was a decent base pay.
Okay.
So within like 30 minutes, I made $30.
Oh wow.
Like I picked up at Red Lobster. Like one delivery was on the way to the second delivery.
Okay.
And then it showed me my pay, and I was like, that was awesome.
Okay.
And I was like, I can go home now. The flip side is some days I'm getting a lot of like $3 orders.
Yeah.
It's going to take 10 of those to equal what I made in 2 the previous day.
Right.
So you just got to take the good with the bad.
Okay. That's
always hope for like big orders.
Okay.
I mean, some people just tip a percentage.
Okay.
So sometimes I'll get a huge, like a Chinese restaurant or a pizza place, like 3 pizzas for a family.
Okay.
And it's, $50 or $60 bill, so they may give you a $10 tip on top of that.
Okay.
Plus the base. So it may pay therefore it may pay $15.
Okay.
And it's a pretty easy one. They may live 2 miles from the pizza place.
Yep.
They may live 10 miles from the pizza place.
Right.
So it really varies, but they usually will tell you up front an estimate what the delivery is going to pay.
Okay.
So that's where you come in whether you want to do it or not.
Okay.
And they usually give you a guesstimated time, which is not always accurate because sometimes the order's not ready.
Okay.
Sometimes the house is harder to find than you think it would be. So it'd say this one pays $3.25 with a guesstimation of 30 minutes. Well, maybe not.
Right. Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're not getting any, if it's been an hour you haven't gotten anything, go ahead and do it.
Right.
And then usually, hopefully, you get that snowball effect what I get. Once you kind of get going, they keep sending you to other restaurants in the area. Now, I will have sometimes I'll deliver to, like North Alpharetta where there's plenty of homes but not much businesses.
Okay.
So now I find myself in an area where there's no restaurant, so I have to drive another 15 minutes to kind of get back to where as opposed to maybe like where you live, where there's restaurants on every corner.
Right.
I'll pull into a neighborhood around here, it'll send me to, the next restaurant and the next restaurant.
Okay.
So like you might do a pickup, but then the delivery is going to be somewhere far out where there's no restaurants nearby.
Okay.
So you got to factor in, well, now I got to drive 20 minutes back to the more populated area to get the next delivery.
Yeah, a lot of things to take.
So one delivery, like that article, $40 an hour.
Yeah.
Well, I did one the other day. The pickup was in, I'm going to use local geography. People may not, who knows where they're watching this. Pickup was North Alpharetta. Delivery was 17 miles away in Buckhead at like a condo complex. So that probably took, and the order wasn't ready right away. I had to wait 5 or 10 minutes on the order. It was probably a full 20-minute drive. Then I had to get to the location and deal with the concierge desk because it was like a high-rise condo. Like, leave it here. We'll call the customer. Then I had to explain to the customer where it was at, take the picture, walk to my car because I didn't want to have to pay for parking, so I had to pay for like a delivery-only parking slot. So that might have taken 30 or 40 minutes, and it paid maybe $10, give or take 10 or 12, which isn't awful.
Okay.
But if that took a half hour, and the next one may only pay $5, you're looking at $15 an hour.
Okay, gotcha.
So I gave one example where I made maybe $30 in a half hour.
Right.
Well, that's $60 an hour.
Right.
That's amazing. That happens, and that's great when it happens, but that's not typical.
Okay, gotcha. So it's there's a lot of variables. and all
Right. It's
this.
completely across the board. So I just try to stay busy
Right.
and accumulate as much as I can. At the end of the day, I kind of figure it out.
Okay.
I will say there's a lot of days where I probably made 20 an hour,
Oh, okay.
or 15 an hour.
Okay.
Which is okay.
That's
It's
that's
not
very,
bad.
that's fair. That's very fair. Okay.
Sometimes I luck out and I've made average 25. It's average because
Right.
I may spend an hour doing 3 that paid like $4 each.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's $12 that hour.
Right.
Then I may have like those examples where I do 2 in a row that didn't take very long. They each paid 15.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, I made 30 for that hour.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the average at the end of the day may be I made 15 an hour.
Okay. Gotcha. Now let's talk about are there the best practices for this? Are there the best days or times that you've seen that is it Saturday night dinner, Sunday lunch? Are there any patterns that you've seen that if someone just wants to do this as a side gig and they can only do it 2 days a week, right?
Right.
What would be the 2 best days and times
I would say
that you've seen to do this?
Saturday, if you're going to pick like maybe the one best day to do it, would probably be Saturday. Saturdays are good for the example I gave earlier.
Okay.
Of course, you're going to have dinner and lunch.
Okay.
But people seem to eat randomly throughout the day on a Saturday.
Okay.
Or they have an earlier dinner
Right.
or a later dinner. People may not
Right.
eat till 8 or 9 o'clock. And then you get younger people who are, night owls. I've been on the way home. And it's like, well, I'm done for the day. I'm going to leave it on. I start getting like 11:30 or midnight, like McDonald's orders.
Wow.
Like
Okay.
people want a midnight snack.
Okay.
But they don't want to go out to get it.
Of course not. Okay.
So you decide like, well, do I want to do a few more or just want to head home? So that's kind of nice though, because you think
Yeah.
you're done for the day, you get a few extras.
Okay.
But I would say Saturdays are good. Obviously lunch and dinner. I've noticed it slows down between like 3 and 5.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of like the dead
it's not,
zone.
Dead zone was the same, but not completely dead.
Slow zone, yeah.
It slows, like, I always notice, because some days I'm only going to do the dinner rush.
Okay.
So I'm going to sign in and try to get some early. I'll sign in at 4.
Okay.
Like, I'm not getting anything. Oh, yeah, it's 4.
Yeah.
It's too early for dinner.
Right.
But then you get random people. I mean, you get people just ordering a smoothie, and that's it. Or
Okay.
Starbucks.
Okay.
Or, like, I've delivered coffee to offices.
Right.
So it's not always meals. Obviously, lunch and dinner. Those are going to be your peak times.
Okay, peak. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for.
Yeah, but there are days where I'm just doing it all day and it never stops.
Oh, wow.
Which is
Okay.
great.
Okay. So let's talk about another question that I think a lot of viewers might have, like myself, who may be considering, trying to do this or to make a little extra money. How does it work with the mileage? Okay, so you're talking, you shared a story about, you're working 12-hour shifts some of these days, 11 to 11. And I can't even imagine how many miles you put on your car that day. So are these companies paying you any mileage, or is that something that you can maybe claim on your taxes?
Right. So
how does that work?
I started doing this last year.
Okay.
We're early into 2021 now. It's tax season now.
Okay.
It's my understanding is, yes, you can and should claim your mileage for this on your taxes.
On your taxes,
Now,
okay.
Postmates, I think the fine print I read on Postmates is they actually do pay you something for your mileage for the delivery made.
Okay.
But the mileage to the restaurant, and then once you're done, like back home or your next destination, that is, you can write off.
Okay.
So basically, like, say I'm sitting at home and Postmates wants me to go to McDonald's. The drive from my house to McDonald's I can write off. Once I leave McDonald's to go to the customer, Postmates is paying me for that mileage.
Oh, I see. Right.
So it's hard to keep track of that.
Yeah, it is.
Postmates, I use the least of the three,
Okay.
just because I get more offers from the others. My understanding is for DoorDash and Uber Eats, all of that you can write off because they're paying you per delivery and obviously a tip. I don't think they officially pay you for mileage.
Okay.
So keep track of your
Gotcha.
mileage and write it off. I have an app that does it for me.
Oh,
It's QuickBooks actually.
Oh, good.
You can,
Okay.
if you allow them to monitor your location,
Okay.
they know when you're in your car and you're driving,
Oh,
and then
wow.
you can mark, that was, I went to Kroger for myself, so that's personal.
I see.
Oh, that was a delivery, that's business.
Oh,
you can,
cool.
Each drive, it saves the drives, and you go back and mark which one's personal, which one's business. So that's a convenient way to keep track of it.
That is cool. Okay. So now, perfect segue, since we're talking about taxes, another question, because you were talking about, I guess you got a statement or something where it was showing you like per day or per week. I'm assuming, how does this work with the taxes, right? Are you paying, is it a 1099 thing?
Yes.
Okay, so they 1099 you at the end of the year.
When they pay you, and they pay you, you can be paid once a week.
Okay.
I think officially like it's Monday, but because of banks, usually it's Tuesday when it shows up on my statement. So like every Tuesday for all three of the apps is payday, which is nice.
Okay.
You have the option of getting it sooner, but I think they're going to charge you like 50 cents. It's not much.
Okay.
You can cash out immediately.
Okay.
And it gets put on your debit card.
Oh, I see.
Or you can wait once a week and the lump sum goes on directly into your bank account.
Okay.
Which I prefer to do.
Okay.
Rather than, if you need the money right then and there, you can get it.
Okay.
But you're not going to get all of it.
Right.
There's going to be
you
a small
pay a convenience fee or something like
it's
that.
small.
Okay.
I'll give them that.
Okay.
At least it's not a huge fee, but I'd rather just get all of my money and get it once a week.
Okay.
But they do not take taxes out.
Right. So you got to report that.
Right.
Now, do they send you a 1099, or is that something you have to request?
They have sent me, each company has sent me one.
They send you a 1099 form that shows how much you made, and then you just report down on your tax report?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Because Uber did something weird where it only showed like my bonus pay. They'll pay you bonuses, by the way.
Oh.
They'll have like, Uber will call them Quest. If you do 4 deliveries between 5 and 6, we're going to give you like a $6 bonus or $1, because during peak period they need you as much as you need the money.
Right.
So they sometimes offer bonuses to make sure you're available during the peak time. Like if we're expecting to be busy tomorrow between 11 and 1, $1 extra each delivery.
Okay.
They'll usually send you a text or something about that.
Okay.
So that's cool. They don't always do that, but from time to time they offer these little incentives.
Okay.
So the 1099 showed my bonus pay.
Okay.
But the app, you could look up on your app, it showed you, I think it broke it down for you, what you got paid for delivery, and it told you, if it's over $600, you must report that.
I see.
But they didn't 1099 me for it.
Okay.
So it was kind of confusing because my bonus pay was like $1,500, and I said, well, surely I made more than $1,500 because there was some, weeks I was making $500 or $600, last year, and I did it multiple weeks. Simple math tells you that's more than $1,500.
Okay.
So then I looked it up and I was like, oh, I did make a lot more than $1,500, but it's not on my 1099. It's just weird the way they broke it down.
Okay.
So you got to pay close attention to that because you don't want to do your taxes incorrectly.
No, you don't.
Right.
Okay.
I have a little bit of pre-knowledge because my previous freelance video work, I was an independent contractor, so I'm kind of used to 1099s and paying my own taxes.
Okay.
That's another tip. Definitely keep track of your mileage.
Okay.
But if you can afford to, set aside some for your taxes.
Right.
So you're not stuck with paying it all at once.
Okay.
Or if you are, you have it saved up.
Right.
And
have that money ready.
I haven't done my taxes as being an Uber DoorDash guy yet, but on my previous 1099 work, it's always more than you think it's going to be. Yep.
Always plan for more. That's a good tip.
No matter how many write-offs I have, I still owe on top of that, and it's always like a bit of a surprise. So try to set aside if you can.
Okay. So as we wrap up here, talking about side gigs, earning extra money through the food delivery service apps with Mr. Duke Corey, who's experienced 3 of them. So do you have any kind of final thoughts of, if someone is interested in doing this, any like advice, or is one app better than the other, or is it just really kind of, is it a lot of trial and error, or does it depend on the city you live in? It sounds like there's a lot of variables and factors that would contribute to the success, right? So what kind of advice would you share in some of your final thoughts?
I only can... It's interesting because I think everyone's experience is specific, and I only can speak to my experience. and stuff I've heard from talking to others who do it.
Right.
Like I initially was complaining that I wasn't getting much from Postmates, and then people spoke up and said, well, in my area, Postmates is pretty good. So it kind of depends on where you're at. My personal experience has been Uber seems to give me the most delivery offers.
Okay.
I just think it's a brand name everyone kind of knows.
Yeah,
it's the
that's a
biggest
good
one
point.
out there.
Good point.
DoorDash, before I had Uber, of course, DoorDash was giving me more than Postmates. I know some people only like to do one. They only like to fool with one.
Focus on one.
I tried Postmates let me sign up right away. That's why I initially went with them.
Okay.
The other two, there was a waiting period for whatever reason. They were saturated with applications, or just their process was slower.
Yeah.
So I would say be patient.
Okay.
You may not get on board right away.
Okay.
Also be patient that for me, it kind of took a while to get going.
Okay.
But once it did, it kind of really took off.
Okay.
Like the snowball effect.
Yeah. That's good.
So it may start slow. Try not to get discouraged. I know we kind of we need money. We want it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just, and it may be an algorithm. It may be like the more you work for them, the more offers they're going to give you. I don't know.
That's an interesting.
It could be something like that.
Interesting thought.
Because it seemed to me like it seemed to start slow and then grow from there.
Okay.
And Uber, once I got on, and like I said, sometimes the trick is just getting that first one of the day.
Right.
And then once you get one, they keep coming and coming.
Right. Okay.
Consider driving somewhere else. If you're sitting at the house not getting anything, don't get frustrated. Go to just where like if you have a downtown area where there's more restaurants, go. The apps may suggest it, but you may know your town better than the apps. Go where you just use common sense. Like if your house isn't near a restaurant, you may not get an offer. So go where the work will be.
Okay.
I guess that's just about it.
Good.
Just,
good stuff.
Stick with it. And it's not for everybody. You may not like it.
Right.
Some days I've gotten frustrated with it. It's a rainy day. Mm-hmm. Although I notice rainy days are good for business because people don't want to go out on a rainy day.
I would think so. Yeah.
But you're in and out of your car so much. You have these places and the drop-offs, and and driving in the rain isn't fun. Mm-hmm. But and you mentioned putting a lot of miles on your car.
Right.
Some of the deliveries can be far. I mentioned one earlier, it was 17 miles away. Some, the ones I love, the ones that hopefully pay well, but they're close to one another. I'm just kind of ping-ponging around in my own little area. Then when I'm done, I'm close to home already. You do put a lot of miles in your car, which also means you're going to do a lot of driving. So if you don't like to drive, this may not be for you.
That is probably the best tip. If you don't like being stuck in a car, and if you don't like driving, this might not be the best side gig for you. Excellent tip. Or if you have a very nice car that you like being in with a great sound system and heated seats, heated steering wheel, something like that, something that you enjoy being in your car. Hey, this might be a cool opportunity.
It can be great.
For you.
You can listen to a podcast while you drive around.
Yeah, that's probably the best tip of all. So thank you so much, Mr. Duke Corey, for sharing your insight and information on working with several of these food delivery apps, which are really exploding during the pandemic with everyone being stuck at home and quarantining and whatnot. And of course, we've come out of the lockdowns and stuff. So like you said, this is an industry that probably is just going to continue to explode. So it could be a really good money-making opportunity for anybody who wants to get a side gig on the weekend or nights after work. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful and informational to you if you are considering doing one of these side gigs with some of these apps. For Duke Corey, this is Jason Brown saying to remember, it's not the amount of money you make, but the margin that matters the most. We'll see you next time.